Today's video is going to be pretty simple. I just want to talk about cloud gaming because Xbox just had a big announcement about Xbox Game Pass coming to iOS and whether or not we think it's going to be the future of gaming or if it's going to die out. Well, hello everybody. You caught me on a bit of a sleepy day, but basically, this one was a little bit inspired by the fact that Game Pass is being beta tested on iOS today. Basically, it works in your Safari browser, and that's how they're sort of getting around the whole Apple agreement thing. There was also a Switch on the shelf during the GameStack event that is going on this week, which has a lot of people speculating, oh, Game Pass is coming to Nintendo Switch. That could be a thing. I don't know. But yeah, I mostly wanted to talk about cloud gaming and just whether or not we think it's the future or it's a fad, right? We know that Google Stadia support is sort of wavering. It seems like they aren't supporting it as much as they were when it was announced, and that kind of leaves three people off the top of my head who are in the game. Xbox, with their Game Pass services and Game Pass games being in the cloud, are number one, right? So we know about Xbox Game Pass. PlayStation Now, I would think, is number two. They use streaming for a lot of their PS3 games and a lot of the stuff on the PS Now service. And you can stream your PlayStation Now games on a PC, plug in a PS4 controller, and you're good to go playing, your PlayStation games, the ones that are streamable. And then probably the best example of streaming has been NVIDIA. NVIDIA has streaming services. I believe it's called Shield, but I think they have two different ones. I can't remember the different names. I've used the NVIDIA service like when I was in Gamescom, and a friend of mine let me hop on his Destiny game because I was just sort of curious about it. And I messed around with it for a while, and the input latency was low enough that I felt comfortable enough playing a shooter. But as soon as you start getting in jutters and stuff like that, it becomes quite difficult. So, first of all, I want to talk about why it's good. And again, this is inspired by the fact that Game Pass is coming to iOS. That is a good thing. For so long it's been Android only, and now it's going to be on both of the competitive platforms. So, one of the reasons it's good is that you can just game on the go. I used to pack up my consoles every time we went to Germany or anytime I had an event abroad, and I just wanted to at least be able to go to Zur and Destiny, for example, and get the latest exciting gear that the game had. Or if you're on a plane, well, that's a bad example because you're probably not going to have the internet connection. But if you're in your hotel room and you have a lot of downtime, like a game, I keep saying it, I'm just going to say it again, Octopath Traveler. A game like Octopath Traveler is going to be a really, really good game to pick up and play. Like that's what I would do with my Switch, and if I just had it on my iPhone, it's just one less thing I have to keep in my bag, right? And that's an advantage that I think Microsoft has with Game Pass currently, and potentially Stadia had, but I'm not sure what's going on with Stadia. And also, you know what? That's even advantageous over NVIDIA Shield, because with NVIDIA Shield, you would need like a laptop or something. With this, it's just on your phone. You just have access on your phone. You can bring one of the attachments. I have my controller here with the attachment for your phone. You just put your phone in there, and you're playing in the. You could probably do it in the airport waiting area. You could definitely do it in your hotel room. So the only thing that I've noticed with all of these services is if you have any sort of input delay, it kind of locks you out of a lot of different types of games that I think people would really, really enjoy to play on these platforms. I don't think you could play Halo, for example, with any sort of input latency issue or just stuttering issue. Those are two issues that I've seen crop up in all services that just mean you can use it, but it's never going to be what we envision it is. Just being able to play any game we want on our phones on the go. I think that's the dream everybody has, right? And if you have any sort of poor gaming session, that's largely the impression that's going to be left on your mind. So if Google is not supporting Stadia like they once did, then if they had a hard time with it, who can do it right? Can anybody do it right now? Maybe, maybe not. I personally, I think this is something that's going to be developed probably. Man, I originally said 5 when we sort of talked about this on Unlocked, and I said 5 years. I think this might be like a 10-year play. This is way, way in the future. Well, 10 years way in the future, right? But I do think we get there somewhere. I don't see this dying out. I think it could evolve into something that's sort of a combination of different ideas. I don't know what those ideas would be. Like, I don't have any suggestions off the top of my head. But one of the things that happened today was GameStack, as I said earlier, with the Switch thing. But ID at Azure was revealed. So that's interesting. Actually, it's the inverse of what you would think with games. Instead of playing games in the cloud, ID at Azure is going to allow people to develop games using the cloud. So instead of needing all this computer equipment, you can just log on to a cloud-based computer and program your game, make sure you have all the development tools that you need. And I believe they're starting that right now. That was reported on Microsoft.com. That's really compelling if you're on the game development side. But I don't feel like we're there yet. Now, I've only played Game Pass stuff on a Google Pixel, and I think this is the Google Pixel 2. I actually don't know, but it doesn't run great, I'll be honest. It has worked for some of those games that don't require a ton of input precision. When you need input precision, it's problematic. I remember playing Stadia at Gamescom and it was totally fine. It was really, really good and it kind of gave me hope. But then you get your home version and you're like, yeah, this is miserable. It's not what it needs to be. I don't get why it's so hard. Like, just let me plug a thing in and play these games. And when I feel like Stadia got really close. Like, if you played Cyberpunk on Stadia, it was actually a pretty solid experience. And that is the type of game where you don't need Twitch reflexes to play it, basically, depending on your play style for that platform. And the part of the reason I'm making this today is because I really want to hear what people think. Like, are you excited about cloud gaming even? Because I hear a lot of people just super hyped, like, oh yeah, Xbox Game Pass in the cloud. Yeah, it's great. And I'm like, okay, but every time I've played it, I've had issues with input. And I want to know if you've had that same issue, if you don't notice it, like maybe I notice it a little bit more than most people, or maybe I just want like the perfect experience or something. But I want to hear from you. What do you think? Have you tried it out? Have you gotten a chance to try it out? What was your experience like? Could you imagine yourself utilizing it more, or have you utilized it a lot over the last few years? I'd especially like to hear from the people who use it all the time and they have no issues, because I want to know what I'm doing wrong, really. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much. I'm actually really tired today. Kind of a long, stressful day. There was this Resident Evil thing that I might make a video about in a few days, but there's just so much information about it. I don't want to make it right now because, like, I just wanted to play video games tonight. I made a dumb character and that will be the show, so I did that instead. And I was getting yelled at on Twitter. I felt really dumb. Yeah, it's a super interesting story. Something's probably going to be on IGN. I hope in the next few days about it once they can dive in. But yeah, so thanks for watching. If you like these sort of videos over here on my personal channel, you can hit the subscribe button. You can, of course, also become a member. To become a member, you just click that join button. And like I said, I'm tired. I thank you for hanging out and just having this conversation with me about iOS gaming. And I'm going to see you for the next one. Bye, everybody. Peace.